Let's make history. So the two guys who severely beat up a police officer and robbed him of his gun, phone, and other items in the Bronx were both caught. Did a video on this about last week. Check it out. It's on all platforms, Instagram, TikTok. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. Hit that like button. But they were caught. And as I said on the first video, they should get the maximum sentence. So I did a little research, and it turns out that the maximum sentence for a robbery conviction in New York City is 25 years. That is also the case for an assault conviction. The maximum sentence is 25 years. So if you give them 25 for the assault, 25 for the robbery, run them consecutively, that's 50 years. Now, there are other factors to take into consideration, such as the fact that the cop was off duty. So that may reduce the severity of the penalty a bit. But it also depends on their criminal history. Now, these guys are 22, 23 years old. So they've been full-fledged adults for about, 4 years? So do you really think these guys were reckless enough to beat down a police officer and rob him for his gun? Do you really think this is the first time they have got caught for a crime? I doubt it. If I had to put my money on it, I would say they probably have a conviction already, both of them, maybe even multiple. So you can raise the sentence if they have a prior criminal history. Also, it's up to the judge's discretion. Now, that could lower the sentence also, as weird as it may sound, because you got to remember, New York is a blue state. A lot of these judges are left-wing, and they were educated at left-wing institutions. Most of these universities are basically breeding and planting and growing liberals, far left-wing liberals. So many of these judges, especially in places like New York, have a soft spot in their heart for people who constantly get convicted of felonies and other crimes. So hopefully if we have the right judge on this case and the right measures are taken, justice can be served.
In connection to that disturbing attack in the Bronx, there's surveillance video that shows what happened. Here's a look. You see the off-duty officer after he was thrown to the ground, and police say the two masked men there punched him, kicked him, and held a knife to his neck so they could rob him.
That attack happened Saturday at 4 in the morning in Parkchester, and today we got word that U.S. Marshals tracked down one of the two suspects in North Chesterfield, Virginia, just outside of Arlington.
U.S. Marshals Regional Fugitive Task Force taking 23-year-old Tavion Hargrove into custody this morning in a suburb outside of Richmond, Virginia.
Mayor Adams making good on this stern warning to the two suspects responsible for brutally beating an off-duty NYPD officer in the Bronx last weekend. Today, the United States Marshal Service for New York and New Jersey, with the help of NYPD officers, hunting down and arresting a bloody 23-year-old Tavion Hargrove right outside of Richmond in North Chesterfield, Virginia. Hargrove is one of two suspects police say are behind the robbery and assault of a 27-year-old officer at knife point on St. Peter's Avenue on the morning of May 24th. Video shows the two men robbed the officer of his belongings, including his registered firearm. One of the suspects kicking the officer in the face, leaving a shoe imprint and broken bones. A horrifying thought for New Yorkers we speak to.
Nobody should be getting beat up.
It's horrifying. With a black eye, barely able to see the police officers applauding in front of him, the 27-year-old cop from the Bronx managed a salute as he was released from Jacoby Hospital 4 days after being beaten up and robbed in Parkchester.
He's shocked what happened that night. He's shocked that these individuals, after they knew he was a New York City police officer, they didn't leave, they didn't run away, they stomped on his head.
Once the two thugs had the off-duty officer pinned down, police say they held a knife to his throat and robbed him of his service weapon. Officer Nafiz had just gotten off work. Left with facial fractures and in lots of pain, the officer hobbled into a police van Wednesday to go home with his parents. He came to this country from Bangladesh 5 years ago to follow his dream.
A few years ago, I had the opportunity to run into him at an event. before he became a police officer, when he was a 911 operator. And he knew at that time he wanted to be answering the calls. And that's what he did.
Just as the injured officer received his ovation, NYPD detectives and U.S. Marshals took into custody the second fugitive wanted for the brutal beating. 22-year-old Wayne Lucas was arrested in Virginia a day after his accomplice, 23-year-old Tavion Hargrove, was found hiding out. Police sources say they were tracked by their electronics.
When you disrespect the uniform, you're disrespecting our symbol of public safety.
A symbol this young officer remains committed to, with only about a year and a half on the job.
He wants to get back. He's a fighter.
Once extradited, the suspects will end up back here at the 4-5 precinct to face serious charges and a not-so-warm welcome.
This is something that should have never happened. If you have people who are doing crimes against police officers, what do you think they would do to you or I, or our children, or our parents? This is the statement I made on part 1 of this video, but I can't stress it enough.